And this is, one of the
Right.
dilemmas that I'm wrestling with is, there's an A/B. Like, are we looking at just a horrible right wing administration, or are we looking at something that is not just a horrible right wing administration, but something authoritarian and
No, yeah, I think it's B. I think this is unprecedented. I think that the fate of the republic is at stake, and we could easily get to a place where people who believe things like you and I believe might have to put our bodies in the line to protect the very institutions of democracy itself.
Do you think one of my concerns is that the prescription for the B scenario
Hmm.
feeds the A scenario, or that the prescription to fight the A scenario feeds the B scenario? Do
I
you?
don't I don't follow you, Sam.
In other words, if we're going to assume that this is, let me just take the alternate view that it's an A situation, right? That the
Right.
authoritarianism, that our institutions are strong, we're not going to have this problem. We need to fight him as we would fight a radically
A
a radical
Reagan or
a
a George
Reagan,
W. Bush.
exactly. But that in
Right.
doing so, that opens up the space for an authoritarian turn.
Right.
Or if we fight him on authoritarian levels, like for instance, okay, so you don't want to necessarily give this guy some type of credibility. You want to fight him at every turn and show that there is dissent, because that to me seems to be the most important thing that you can do in the context of fighting an authoritarian force.
Right.
However, there are some, like I think the reason why Al Gore went to that meeting, I mean, just I'm going to assume the best of intentions by everybody, that Al Gore went there thinking, like, if I can sit in the room, maybe I can convince him that, global climate change is real. And if I have a 1%
Right.
chance of doing it, it's worth it.
Right.
But what ends up,
I yeah.
I mean,
I think that the evidence is just so overwhelmingly on the side of B, and these kind of serial disappointments that anyone who puts their hand anywhere near his mouth gets it bitten off. Should be showing us what the game is here. And I don't know how to build that resistance. I don't know what you do on Capitol Hill, but I think I can speak to you and the listeners that, kind of our markers that we lay down, for our children, for our grandchildren, for the sake of history, that's what's important. That's what, will be judged on, how well we stood up when the going got tough, and just assuming that the grown-ups in the room are going to rescue us. It's amazing. This China, this call with Taiwan, which anyone who knows anything about geopolitics, who knows more than Donald Trump about geopolitics, knows, it's risking very, very dangerous outcomes. Now we know that the grown-up of all grown-ups in the room, Bob Dole, was
right,
the guy who lobbied for this.
right.
Right. So, any faith that Mitt Romney is going to ride to the rescue, yeah, we're going to need a coalition that'll probably have to include Republicans who refuse to go along with it. That's a pretty interesting eventuality. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And let's realize that, just like, Roosevelt made an alliance with Stalin, he had no illusions about what Stalin was all about.
Right. We're going to be all riding on those horses as we charge Washington, D.C., and I'm going to look to the right of me, and David Frum is going to be riding on the horse next to me. I'm going
Great.
to beat myself to a pulp. Oh, gosh.
I'm willing to extend the warm hand of fellowship to David Frum in the interest of, fighting to live another day.
But may I just interject?
Michael wants to interject.
Stein 2020.
Who's Michael?
Michael is our contributor, producer here, and
Hi, Michael.
he can't
Hi,
help
Rick.
himself.
Yeah, I can't help
We're still mad at at some quarters, but that doesn't matter. So all right, well, Rick, I know that we're going to be talking more, and I think at the very least for people who are asking, like, what can they do now? The working on the media, holding the media account,
Right.
and do it. Look, I think people, I mean, I remember, I think it was Michael Massey from the Columbia Journalism Review in studio with me 12 years ago talking about how he had talked to reporters who would get 3,000 emails from conservatives when they would write something, and it changed their behavior. And, the Majority Report in that era was very much oriented to that. And I think to a certain extent, we need to get back to that. And people need to remember, when you approach these journalists, right, you've got to be gentle but firm. Is that the prescription?
Yes. Don't insult them. Don't give them an excuse to ignore you, because, we are the majority. This is the Majority Report,
Indeed. Rick Perlstein, thank you so much for your time. We will link to the piece, of course. Always a pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Vince Ramos, Sam.
Indeed. Bye-bye. Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Over. Subscribe.